He leaned forward to look at the proof, the seemingly innocuous papers that lay on the solicitor's desk. Yellow, faded and ragged around the edges, they were proof positive that Sebastian's parents' marriage was illegal. He recognised his mother's handwriting, and her duplicity.
"Where did this come from?"
Sebastian demanded. He couldn't succumb to the dark hole that was threatening to engulf him. He had to keep asking questions to find out what happened so he could understand, if it was possible to make sense of it at all. The solicitor placed his hands flat on his desk, spreading his fingers wide. "They were found in the Duchess's vault box. That is, your late mother, since she wasn't actually the Duchess. Letters she wrote but apparently never mailed. We discovered them after the accident. The carriage accident that took both his parents' lives."
"But that was over 6 months ago,"
Thaddeus pointed out.
"How is it that these are just coming to light now?"
"It takes time to review all the paperwork after such an event," the solicitor said in a defensive tone. "And we needed to translate the letters," he added.
"Why would your mother lie?"
Thaddeus said, turning his intense stare toward Sebastian.
"There was no practical reason to hide the relationship."
Thaddeus, ever practical, always searching for the reason in things. Whereas Sebastian never searched. Things just arrived. Like his title, wealth, standing in society, women, and friends. It was astonishing how quickly one's entire world could be upended. All in the time it took for the solicitor to explain how the letters of Sebastian's mother detailed every last subterfuge.
"My mother was ambitious,"
Sebastian replied, unable to keep the animosity from his tone.
"She probably persuaded the late Duchess that there was some reason to keep their relationship a secret. Maybe it would have reflected badly on the family for a sister to act as a companion."
He shrugged, as though it didn't matter. Of course it mattered.
"The point is that I am not the Duke."
He raked his hands through his hair, anger coursing through his veins. The position he'd been trained for since he had been born was not his. The estates, the responsibility, the money, the title, the position, all of it gone.
"Who is?"
Thaddeus asked. Sebastian raised one right eyebrow as he waited for Thaddeus to figure it out, and supplied the information when it seemed his normally sharp cousin was not processing it.
"You're the Duke of Hasford now, Thad."
Sebastian didn't think he had ever seen Thaddeus surprised before. The man was confoundingly strategic, always plotting his next move, anticipating events long before anybody else involved had thought of them. It was what had made him invaluable when they were growing up together. Sebastian usually thought up the mischief, Thaddeus planned out the event, and their friend Nash was there to quash any trouble. But now Thaddeus looked as though he'd been hit in the head with a heavy object. Or a dukedom.
"That's not... I mean..."
Thad sputtered. If Sebastian were feeling more inclined, he'd have to laugh at his cousin's expression and inability to speak in a complete sentence. But he was not inclined. He was furious, with his mother, with his feckless, foolish father, with his own expectations.
"It is."
He tapped the papers in front of them.
"This proves it."
He leaned back, folding his arms over his chest.
"And I am plain Mr. de Silva."
His fury changed to fierce protectiveness as he thought of his half-sister, at home without any clue of what was happening.
"You'll take care of Anna Maria, of course."
He knew Thaddeus would have no thought of doing otherwise, but he needed to say it, to retain some measure of agency.
"Of course,"
Thaddeus said.
"But what if I don't want to be the Duke?"
Thaddeus asked, directing his question to the solicitor.
"Can't we just pretend we've never seen these documents? That things are as we always thought?"
Thaddeus was the only person of Sebastian's acquaintance who had never been envious of Sebastian's position, either as a duke's heir or as the duke himself.